We do believe it's the biggest AI opportunity in the world today.
So Cathie Wood just said that Tesla is the greatest AI opportunity of our lifetime. Let's watch the clip.
Probably the stock that you've had to talk about to CNBC and everyone else more than any other stock ever is without doubt, I'm guessing here, I think it's Tesla, Cathie. And one of the criticisms is your concentration of holding of that stock. Now, last time I looked, I think you thought it was a base case scenario, minimum scenario of something like $1,400 per share as well. And we know you're a big fan. But given what you just said about the undervaluation of innovation more generally, is it just not the case that, I mean, look, we know it's a fantastic company and we know you've done brilliantly well out of it and you've backed it all the way through. But given the pricing of it now, compared to the rivals who are really innovating, as you say, people are innovating a lot quicker than they have previously. Is the disparity between Tesla and the rest of the auto sector globally, is it just too much?
So we are in print. Our price target is $2,000, and that's a 2027 price target. So we think it has miles to go. It has just started, and we do believe it's the biggest AI opportunity in the world today. The autonomous taxi platform opportunity is going to be a winner take most opportunity. So the first company that gets people from point A to point B the fastest and the safest is probably going to be the biggest winner in the space. In the United States, we believe Tesla's in the pole position. And what's so interesting about autonomous taxi platform is the margin structure. The margin structure is compared to EVs, which are in the 20 to 30% gross profit margin range. The profit margin of autonomous taxi platforms are SaaS-like, software as a service-like, so 80% plus. So we believe that Tesla will have a blended margin in the next 5 to 10 years in the 50 to 60, perhaps higher range. Again, this is the biggest AI project in the world right now, and we think it's incredibly undervalued.
Cathie, are you worried about the Chinese EV makers getting in the way? I mean, the Europeans have already launched an investigation into subsidies from those Chinese automakers. Are you worried that they're also going to go after, say, the dominant US market position and prove a real challenge to some of those traditional players in the States?
I think EVs generally, yes, will. And especially companies that are focused only on EVs, they're probably riding down the cost curve of electric vehicles and are going to be able to cut prices, much like Tesla is doing. Many people, when they see Tesla cutting prices, they say, oh, that's terrible. They must be losing a lot of business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pricing this way. No, Elon has always promised that he would pass along cost savings to consumers. And if the consumer's feeling a bit weak right now or has lost some confidence, those lower prices are making a difference. In fact, we've heard that the waiting time now for the Model Y has actually increased by several months.
Now, look, you can say what you want about Cathie Wood. You can say she got a lot of calls wrong. But when it comes to Tesla, this lady was always ahead of the curve. And she still is. She just talked about a few things we have to cover here. She was talking about the fact that Tesla is the greatest AI opportunity of our lifetime. She was talking about the winner takes all or take most approach. And she was talking about the margins. And she was talking about how Tesla is so far ahead, it's not even a question of who's going to win this race. Now, look, let me explain what I mean here. You know how in the nature films, there's this lion of the pride, and the lion of the pride is the only male that gets to mate with the females of the pride. The rest of the males, they get to watch. This is the same thing that's going to happen with full self-driving, autonomy, robotaxis. Somebody's going to be the king lion. Somebody's going to be the alpha male who gets to mate with all the females, and the rest of them are going to watch, which is exactly what she's talking about here. Now look, the example comes from the jungle, but the rules of nature are very, very simple. If you have the best technology, and you have the best R&D and the best deployment, you're going to win this race. Now, what she's talking about is very interesting. In the beginning, she was talking about the fact that she has a $2,000 price target for Tesla for 2027. I think she's referring to the more bullish price target she has, because in a clip a few days ago, she was saying $1,400. I think that was the medium case. Now, whether it's $1,400 or $2,000, it doesn't really matter, because she was actually bouncing off a lot of the BS that was coming from the panel. For example, within the questions that she was asked, the panelists said that their rivals are getting better and catching up with Tesla. Now, he was talking about AI, which is even crazier to me to say than automobiles and EVs or whatever you call it. With AI, who's catching up with Tesla? We just made a video a few days ago showing you how nobody's catching up with Tesla in AI. Generative AI? Who? GM with the 34 million highway miles? No city miles whatsoever? Who? Waymo? BYD, who self-admittedly are not playing this game, not trying to develop FSD? NVIDIA, that supports software that's being used by Pony AI with 8 million miles? Versus Tesla, at this point, they probably have, 170, 180 million miles, and they're generating 1 million miles every single day on highways, on roads, on back roads, in my fucking grandpa's garage. They're everywhere. Who's going to beat them? So which rivals are catching up? Which rivals are getting better in generative AI? I don't understand where this question came from, but nevertheless, she bounced it off really, really well. Basically, she said, look, this is the time to invest in AI. The biggest opportunities are right now. Why? Because most markets don't understand how insane this opportunity is. Everybody's evaluating Tesla looking PE, price to earnings. Now, look, some companies don't make no sense. Some companies, it's worth to pay high PEs for. Now, I'm going to offend a lot of NVIDIA fans here, but I wouldn't pay high PE for NVIDIA, because the data center business that NVIDIA is actually building their cachet on right now is a massive business. But it's an infrastructure upgrade. Whether it takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, eventually it's going to run its course. And then NVIDIA will have to reinvent itself again. Paying massive PE for this, to me, it's not a bad idea, but Tesla has a way higher ceiling between robotics, AI, electric vehicles, energy, all of these things, not to mention EVs, not to mention AGI. The ceiling here is absolutely endless. So she's right that this is the best time to invest in AI, because the most of the market isn't getting it yet. And she's 100% right on the fact that that's going to be the winner that's going to take most. In fact, I'm going to double down and I'm going to say she's being very cautious. I think winner takes all. Whoever wins the FSD autonomy race is going to get to dictate the rules. You know how Elon said a few days ago that the winners, they write history? In fact, he had a little joke about it, how losers have more time on their hands and they write Wikipedia pages. But basically, whoever wins the FSD race, whoever wins autonomy, gets to license their technology out to the rest of the auto manufacturers, the rest of the OEMs, much like the little lions of the pack, of the pride, that have to watch the other male get to mate with all the other females in the tribe or pack, whatever it's called. But basically, this is what's going to happen. If indeed Tesla wins and they take over autonomy in FSD, the rest of the OEMs will have to license their technology from Tesla. It's just the rules of the game. Now, if Tesla already has a massive lead, as we shown in the video just a few days ago, with 140, 150, 160, 170, I don't know at this point how much they have, probably more, like 180 million miles, and they're generating 1 million miles a day. So you already have a massive lead, and you're running 3, 4, 5 times faster than the second and the third guy. In fact, you're running faster than all of them combined. How are they going to win? I mean, there's no chance. If this was a race, the race is over. It's just a question of time. Now, the other thing she mentioned here, which is, I think, is brilliant, is something that doesn't get discussed a lot. And I keep pounding my freaking hand in my notebook talking about this. Guys, this is an 80% gross margin business. This isn't selling cars. This isn't 20, 30% gross profit business. This is an 80% gross profit business. It's software. Now, if we're talking about software at 80% gross margin, essentially, all Tesla has to do is generate about $1.5 trillion of revenues from FSD to generate about $1.2 trillion of profit, which is exactly what Elon said in the Walter Isaacson book. In the bio, he literally said that. He said that I think Tesla is not going to be the biggest company in the world. It's not only going to be the most important company in the world. It's going to generate $1 trillion of profit annually per year. Now, with an 80% gross margin, you don't have to generate $3 or $4 trillion of revenue. You probably need $1.5 trillion for that number to become true. And if the entire market is $5 or $6 trillion, which is half of what Cathie Wood thinks, she thinks it's a $12 trillion market. But if it's a $5 to $6 trillion market and Tesla grabs most of it at 80% gross margin, do the math. Then the mathematics of Elon Musk and Cathie Wood about the share price becomes on the low side. It's not 1,400, it's a whole different number. Now, she also said something really important. She said, look, it's not only going to impact the 80% gross margin coming from FSD, the blended margin of the company in between selling EVs, energy, robotics, and FSD is going to be about 50 to 60%. Now, if Tesla ends up operating at 50% gross margin, and essentially they grab the autonomous, the FSD market, I can't even start thinking about how massive this company is going to be. Now, they did mention the fact that the Chinese automakers might be challenging Tesla. Now, to me, it's a fair question, but here's the problem. Most of the Chinese automakers, they're not anywhere near Tesla in scale to compete, to generate enough data. XPeng, Li Auto, NIO, minuscule, miniature. The only company in China that has the scale to compete with Tesla on data, potentially, is BYD. BYD sells enough cars. BYD puts enough cars on the road to generate enough data to compete with Tesla, potentially. But BYD themselves came out and said, we're not playing this game. BYD admittedly themselves said, we're not trying to develop full self-driving. It's a waste of time and a waste of money. For their clients, it makes perfect sense. They're targeting a demographic that does not require that. They're targeting the low-tier $20,000, $25,000 car. Their clientele is not going to be looking for FSD unless it's the absolute standard of the industry, which it may become in 10 years, but not now. So if BYD isn't chasing this, if the rest of the competition is in shambles, light years behind Tesla, I'm very bullish, and I think she's absolutely 100% right. Now, if you agree with me, comment below. If you disagree with me, comment below. I want to hear the people who disagree with me even more than the people who agree with me. I think that the variety of opinions is super important for us to have a debate. I'm not trying to create an echo chamber here. So if you think that what I'm saying is inaccurate, ridiculous, the ramblings of a madman, comment below, let me know. Now, one last thing before I let you go. We have a few spots left in our academy. We have the upcoming Zoom meeting on Thursday, I think. And on Thursday, we're going to cover how to evaluate management, how to distinguish between a quality CEO and a bozo CEO in companies you invest in, because I think that's one of the more important things in actually picking stocks to invest in. Would love to see you there. If you do join, it's 30 days money back guarantee. Try it out for 29 days. Don't find value in it. Money back right away. And if you haven't yet, go and watch this video I'm going to put on the screen right now by Ron Barron making an absolutely insane prediction about Tesla. If you think this is insane, go watch Ron Barron later.